I'm loving the pop off.
What's good? Welcome back to the Pop Off Podcast, a conversation show about group chats, and I'm calling it facts or cap now. That's the new thing. True or false, it's played out. Everybody's going to associate that with exams and stuff like that. So we're going to play a game of facts or cap today. Again, if you didn't listen to us last week, the idea of this is that we are assessing the group chat messages that are sent on a Sunday. A lot of them get rifled through. I should probably introduce us. I'm Ralph Campiano. I'm the host, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Michael Cerroni. Let's just start here, actually. You got a crib. People are watching this instead of just listening. You have a totally different background. Over the last month, we've had a background with, cop lights in the background, a driver's head seat, speeding tickets probably littered in the back seat. How's it feel to be homed, be sheltered?
Dude, I mean, look at the smile on my face, man. This feels amazing. I got a new crib. It's me and Lynn Daddy, who will be a host on the NBA pod or a featured guest. But yeah, man, we're looking up. Okay, we got a table, a kitchen, a couch, a TV. Listen, God is good. I'm just so proud of my guys. The O-line played great. We converted on third down. We made plays when we had to make plays and got out of here with a win.
Congratulations. Yeah, it's a big W for you. Big win for you guys this weekend. So I actually wanted to start there. Ravens, Bengals, probably the game of the weekend.
We're starting off hot.
I mean, I would say so, right?
Game of the year.
That Lamar Jackson play, the one where I was listening to the call and Kevin Harlan said that he threw away, I think it was Sam Hubbard, not Trey Hendrickson. It was Sam Hubbard. He said he threw away like a rag doll. And then he makes a completion, rolling out of bounds, 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage, to Isaiah Likely for a touchdown. That is the greatest play in Lamar Jackson history. Facts or cap?
Facts. I think it's wild because Kevin Harlan, it's like a Cincinnati curse. The only play that rivals that play is in Cincinnati 3 years ago. The run down the middle and then the spin off the two guys to make both of them hit each other, which also Kevin Harlan was on that call. But I didn't even have words to explain. Bro, to us to be at the goal line, for him to fumble the snap, to reach down, miss it for a sec, grab it, because he's looking up the whole time. Play's never dead. He's looking for receivers while trying to grab it. And then to backtrack, for Christ's sake, he threw that ball from the 30-yard line to grab Sam Hubbard once and then juke backwards, throw him, a 200-pound player on the ground, and then to roll to his right as he's taking a hit, throw an absolute dart jump ball to Isaiah Likely. I don't know if sound came out of my mouth when it happened. I don't think I've ever been quite literally speechless when a play happened. But goddamn, can that man play football? And I know we kind of beat a dead horse when saying this, but when he has the ball in his hands, the play is truly, truly never dead. No matter how busted, no matter how many fumbles, no matter how many bad things happen, it's unbelievable. And I tell you what, he's got a different look in his eye this year. He really does. He talked about it even after the post game. They were interviewing him, and he was ticked off because he fumbled in overtime, which is granted, because if that goes the wrong way, McPherson doesn't choke, we lose that game. None of us are even talking about this, but to have a win like that and still be ticked off that it even had to be like that is just, that's what you need to win a ring. And then you got guys, of course, we get the missed field goal, we get the ball back, we throw it to Henry. He, the refrigerator with legs, runs 50. It's a work of art. It's an absolute work of art. I think that game took 5 years off my life. And just what a roller coaster of a game. And for us to come out and win that, usually the Ravens do not win games like that. I've been a fan for so long. Usually we don't win those games. For us to win that is just unbelievable. That officially buries the Bengals this season. I think at 1-4, it's going to be a hefty hill to climb, and all the other three AFC North teams lost. So we're back at the top, Kings of the North.
It's just such a huge win too, because that puts you guys at 3-2 and them at 1-4. And if McPherson makes that kick, it's 2-3 apiece, which is just, and it's, one of those divisions where nobody's really ever completely out of it. The AFC isn't as strong as everybody projected, but back to the Lamar thing, like he's entered a territory now, and he's probably been there for a couple of years, but there have been like, I wouldn't say ups and downs. 2019 Lamar was like so different. Like that was just such an explosive season. It was so new. We hadn't seen anything quite like that. Like it was just every play, like there was an opportunity for electricity. And his MVP season last year, it wasn't like the splashiest stuff. It was more just like, oh, he's a machine, or he's part of a machine that is just death by 1,000 paper cuts, really efficient. But now I think he's lost some weight. He looks faster again, but he still maintained that same strength where, like, when Hubbard, who is, you're right, like a 275-pound edge rusher, he can just throw him away. So he still has that strength. Like he has to be on the TV. Like you have to have him on a television when he's playing. Like, my setup is I have red zone on one TV at the top, and then I have a game isolated on the bottom. And I was fortunate enough as a Bears fan to kick the living shit out of the Panthers, who are a poverty-ass franchise, that when it got to like midway through the third quarter, we flipped it over to Bengals Ravens. We're like, we just got to watch this game. So we locked in on that one.
Wildest,
thank fucking God we did.
Back and forth, Jamar Chase. I mean, that's another thing. Our defense, brutal. But, yeah, what a fucking game. We would go down 10, down 3, down 10, down 3, tie game. I mean, yeah, just game of the year. And, yeah, Lamar is he keeps getting better, and he's throwing the ball really well.
Really well.
Off balance, throwing dots. A lot of good throws to Bateman. Zay Flowers finally had a good game. Mark Andrews kind of got some touches, and then it just got to feel so good for Lamar to usually have to will himself to win that game, just to throw a pitch to a little guy named Derrick Henry and have him barrel down in overtime for 50 yards for Justin Tucker to just boot it. It's just got to feel – I feel like it takes a lot of load off his shoulders. From an 0-2 start to rattle off 3 straight, I don't love where we are, but I definitely like where we are. And like
if he can sustain this, I mean, it'll be his most efficient season as a passer. He has, so for every 100 throws that he makes, only 0.7 of the time is he throwing an interception. He has a 9 touchdown to 1 interception ratio right now. He is on pace, it looks like, for about 3,800 yards, which would be a career high. And then rushing the ball, he's still a weapon, averaging about 75 rushing yards per game. He's unbelievable. And I'm really, it's so much better when the NFL is somebody like, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, right? Like, let me check out his odds right now for MVP, because I don't know who else would be in contention. Like, for the longest time, Mahomes has been the leader in MVP odds. And I watch him, I'm like, this guy isn't the fucking MVP of the league right now. Like, there's just no way.
No. Maybe Jaden?
Jaden's got to be up there. I think Josh would be up there.
Yeah. But we just handed the Bills their ass, which goes a long way.
Yep, 100%.
I think, I think he's so focused on a ring this year. He's not even paying attention to that stuff. But, defense needs to sharpen up. But, yeah, if he's playing like that, and then so I actually checked yesterday. He went from, so we have the league leading rusher in Derrick Henry, and Lamar is now 7th in the league for rush yards, which is, that just speaks for itself. He also casually threw for 5 touchdowns.
Well, and it's also like he doesn't have, Devontae Adams yet. Maybe that's a potential target, but like it's what, the 5th or 6th year straight in his career where he doesn't have like a true number 1 wideout. Like Charlie Kolar, the 3rd string tight end, catches a touchdown yesterday. Isaiah Likely catches 2 touchdowns yesterday. It's like he sprays it all over the field, and Zay had a great day, but like still, like I don't think of him as like a Nico Collins and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, he's like he's a weapon,
draw a double.
Right? He's not like, the wide receiver one where you're like, we're going to put him outside the numbers and throw it up to him. He's just not that kind of guy.
No.
Okay. I'll find the MVP odds here in a second. All right, going on to the next one. I love this one, and I think it's actually kind of eerie. So somebody said that Dak is light-skinned Romo, facts or cap, and I was digging through it, and it was like, all right, so Dak took over for Romo, I think in 2016, and it's weird. Like, just overall records, wins and losses. Tony Romo, 78-49 in his career. Dak Prescott, 76-43. Right? So
That's
they're
wild.
practically identical. Dak Prescott, 4-time Pro Bowler. Tony Romo, 3-time Pro Bowler. The highest they ever finished in MVP voting.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, 2nd in MVP last year. Tony Romo, 3rd in MVP one year. I mean,
Did Romo never won an MVP?
Romo never won an MVP. The highest he ever finished was 3rd, and then the highest Dak ever finished was 2nd last year to Lamar, and then Purdy ended up finishing 3rd.
Okay. Yeah, I would say fact. I think until Dak gets a ring, we're kind of yes, the same song and dance. I mean, both really good quarterbacks, both play great in the regular season, but both just can't seem to get the job done when it matters the most. Um, the fact that their records are that similar is
So weird. Oh my God, listen to this. The best season
you'd
they
think
ever had as passers, Dak Prescott last year, 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Romo's best year as a passer, 34 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. This is just getting creepy. I'm just digging through these numbers, and it's like every single one is just popping up. Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, they probably are. I mean, obviously Dak's a little bit different skill set, being able to run a little bit, and I think Romo's better. Dak's a pretty good thrower, and it's also funny talking about this because they actually pulled out a clutch one, which tipped the cap to them. I was betting on them and love to see the Steelers go down, but yeah, they both. I mean, Dak's still playing; he's got to prove to it. But I feel like I'd be comfortable saying that. I mean, fuck. I think
I think
Romo's
the
a little
thing
bit more
with,
handsome.
yeah, and Dak isn't quite as charismatic, but like there's just, quarterback of the Cowboys, like you're going to be on like fucking Campbell's chunky soup commercials. Like you're not going to be able to escape it. All of that good stuff. But Dak is.
Dak has
What,
CD, Romo had Dez.
Yeah, and both number 88. What can you do to get over the hump?
Oh, yeah,
Like, it got to be like at least an NFC championship, like win one of those. Like maybe not even win the Super Bowl, just make the Super Bowl.
just got to go there. Got to get
And
there.
I mean, God, I don't think the Cowboys get there this year, but I still believe in Dak enough to the point, and I definitely don't believe in the NFC enough to the point where I think that he could get to a Super Bowl. I just don't know if it's their future this year.
Yeah, I actually do too. I think Dak plays his ass off. It's got to be hard to play for that team and just get dragged for so long. And then you got, people chirping you, your teammates sometimes chirping you. He also has had a crazy life off the field with all just that madness of, his parents. I think his brother killed himself. Just wild for him to still go out there and shrug everything off. And again, they still perform, but it's just the league we're in, or not us. We don't play in the league. We just talk on podcasts. But the league they play in, it really just gets measured in playoff wins and rings. But yeah, I think that's a fair light skin Romo. I think that's a fair little comparison. Can he get over the hump? You're right. I don't know if it's this year, but I got faith in him.
All right, the next factor cap that we have is we're talking about DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson yesterday. And this is very Bears oriented, but I've had some frustrations with DeAndre Swift this year, and he's performed pretty well the last 2 games. But our buddy Texas Pete said in the group chat that he wants his goal line back to have a dumper. Okay. There was a moment in the Bears game where DeAndre Swift essentially got us to the 1-yard line, like got us like literally within inches of the goal line. We hand him the ball and he can't get in. And he's like motioning over to the sideline with his hands. He's like, keep me in, run it again. They bring him out and they bring in Roschon Johnson, who is a running back with a dumper. What does Roschon do? He doesn't just like narrowly get into the end zone. Like he marches into it and then like doesn't get tackled for like 5 more yards until into the end zone, right? Do you want your goal line back to have a dumper? Is that important to you that your goal line running back has ass? Or can you get by with a running back without some cakes on them?
Listen, 4th and 1 at the goal line. Give me a guy with a back porch on him. Okay. I want a back porch with railings, maybe a little couple chairs set up, maybe a little fire, some citronella candles. Nothing
Some
fires me up.
citronella candles.
Nothing fires to keep the mosquitoes away, okay? Because there's a lot going on in that back porch. Nothing fires me up more than when Derrick Henry with a dumper plows through someone, he gets tackled, and his shirt kind of comes up a little bit, and you can see his ass crack of his dumpy. Guess what? If you see the ass crack of the dumpy, he got at least 6 yards. Yeah, goal line. It's a big boy set. They're gonna load the box. You need the dumpy. You need the glutes. You need the push through on the legs to get that. Sometimes it's a very hard 1 yard to get. You saw in the Steelers game, that guy came flying over the top and fucking knocked the ball. Also, good on Dak for none of that happens if he doesn't hop on the ball, which is wild. You see a lot of quarterbacks like not do that these days because of like injury. Hopped on it, won the game. That's a fair assessment. Give me you got goal line yardage. You want some guy that can throw some ass. Okay, he's gonna get you in there.
And he did. Roshan's just that guy. I love me some Roshan Johnson. I'm begging for more Roshan carries.
Roshan anytime touchdown's been smacking at like plus 250, plus 270.
I think that takes us to a decent territory here. This one's going to hit close to home for you. You are now 0-5 in fantasy football in the Pop-Off Pod Gridiron League. You owe my brother $50 after suffering an awful victory or loss to him this weekend. Okay. So factor cap, you have the worst fantasy football team, 1, you've ever had, and 2, I've ever seen. So I was actually going through the league, just the schedule. Your team actually performed pretty decently well the first couple of weeks. Over 100 points in half PPR, looked decent. You are yet to crack 83.8 points in the last 3 weeks of the season after you made all of your, trades that you were so high on. How are you feeling just as a fantasy football owner? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there with 0-5 records listening to this.
I lost the locker room. I really did. These guys just aren't out there playing for each other. They're being selfish. They're not playing team football. Okay, as we all know, football is a game of inches.
Yep.
And these boys are being divas out here. Now, yes, as a coach, I made some questionable trades. As a coach, I made some questionable decisions on benching people. Yep. You know who the best player in the league is? It's not Lamar Jackson.
It's whoever
the
the
guy
fuck is
who
on your
I
bench.
sat on my
Michael
fantasy
Pittman,
football roster.
Drake London.
Okay? You want some over props? Just text me who I sat for fantasy football this Sunday. Let me tell you something. They're all smacking harder than a fucking abusive stepdad. Okay. Now, if you know me, there's nothing more that I love than a guy who's counted out, than a guy who's forgotten about, that a guy just, has been beat to shit. And I'm not saying I'm going to win the league. I'm not saying I might make playoffs, but I will not come in last place. And hand up accountability. I'm going to stop playing so many Ravens. Justice Hill is not a smart move on my part.
Let me do that because I'm going through the roster.
I'd fire the coach.
Matchup. You have Justice Hill starting for you, Mark Andrews starting for you, Zay Flowers, who was great this weekend, Justin Tucker, reasonable guy to start. I think any other week the Ravens defense is a reasonable team to start, but they got -2 points. The Ravens defense did against the big Bengals. Mark Andrews is essentially the third tight end on the Ravens now. Justice Hill is literally the backup running back. Like that one just didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, you're so high on Justice Hill.
Did you see him last week? Did you see him last week?
I mean,
over the field.
Yeah, but that's not a
20.
It's not a consistent theme, right? Like you can't rely on Justice Hill.
I took the bait. Yeah. Just bad coaching all around. I think there needs to be some adjustments. Focus on the fundamentals, and just looking forward to Kansas City next week. Thanks, guys.
All right. Let's go away from football for a second. So I think this is fascinating because as somebody we're both interested in movies and TV. I'm probably a little bit too interested in them.
Oh God!
I'm just curious I'm curious of your understanding of and awareness of SNL 50. right? So Saturday Night Live is
Oh,
celebrating its 50th year this year, and there is a movie coming out this weekend called Saturday Night, which is by Jason Reitman, starring a bunch of younger celebrities that a lot of people are familiar with. I'm sure Cooper Hoffman from Licorice Pizza, Rachel Sennett from Shiva Baby and Bottoms. A lot of great actresses. Kaya Gerber's in it. Tons of people.
ooh.
What does Saturday Night Live mean to you? As just a 27-year-old dude out here in LA, because I'm just like a nerd when it comes to this stuff. So I've been around it for so long that I feel like a need to watch every SNL episode that comes out. But that's because I'm a nerd. As like a casual viewer of it, does it mean anything to you?
So that's actually a good question. I'm not gonna lie, I watched it a lot more maybe 4 or 5 years ago. As a guy who, I mean, I think I'm kind of funny. As a guy who's acting, as a guy who has not dream, but I would, it's a version of a dream to be on
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
one day. Um, I love it. I appreciate it. Um, I don't watch every single, Saturday Night Live. I watch the Nate Bargatze one. I watch the past couple. I'll watch the ones that are good, but nothing. It used to be so much better. Like the Van Down, but with what's his name and Owen Wilson, or not Owen Wilson, David Spade. When all those guys, Adam Sandler, Chappelle, it might have lost its fastball, so to speak, a little bit. But I'll tell you what, if they have the audacity, this is actually the first time I've heard this, which is a little embarrassing. Yeah, it goes to show. If they're putting out a movie, is that what you're saying? They're putting out a movie? That better be fucking phenomenal. Or people are really going to come down hard at them. If you're going to state as the kind of A1 source of comedy and everything like that, if they're going to put out a movie with a cast like that and having the background of SNL like that, high expectations, very high expectations.
So it's
I'm actually
getting
very
decent
excited
enough
hearing about
reviews.
this.
It like the movie itself, like the plot is gonna follow like the first night of Saturday Night Live and like kind of the hectic nature of
Oh, I
putting
love
on
it
a live
already.
performance on
Yeah.
NBC. Dick Ebersol, Lorne Michaels, the whole thing. I mean, star-studded cast. Like Lamorne Morris from New Girl is in it. Nicholas Braun from Succession is in it. Finn Wolfhard, Dylan O'Brien.
Oh yeah, bring the stars out, baby.
I mean, even the kid from The Fablemans is going to be in
I
it.
love
Like,
to see Pete Davidson in there. Is
it's
he
a
in
great
it?
cast across the board. No, he's not in it. It seems like everybody
Damn.
else other than Pete Davidson is in it.
He was always really good on it too.
But
It's a
I guess
certain
like
type of comedy.
my point is that like this was like the cultural touch point for our parents growing up. Like obviously they didn't have TikTok, Instagram, YouTube TV or YouTube or Hulu or Apple TV, and they weren't served all of like these things. They didn't have their own algorithms. So they had a water cooler show on Saturday Night Live that it's like everybody was just appointment viewing watching Saturday Night Live. Like it was
That's
probably
true.
getting 45 to 50 million viewers every
The
week.
main
And
source of comedy in the
exactly,
country.
right? Like, and it was just a reliable thing. And we were talking about it in the group chat where we're talking about like, are people watching it and is there a pathway? Because like you mentioned, like it's not necessarily your dream, but there's a new cast member that I noticed this weekend. Her name is Jane Wickline, and she got on the show because of her TikTok presence. She has a little bit over 1 million followers on TikTok. And Mike, when I tell you it was the most uncomfortable I've ever been watching SNL, like I'm not lying. She comes on Weekend Update, she does her own sketch, and it's just brutal. And it's like,
yeah, you got to have balls.
But like there is no avenue anymore. Even if she was like Adam Sandler, like that avenue doesn't exist anymore for an Adam Sandler because studios don't give big budget comedies any money anymore. Like it just doesn't exist. You can't have Will Ferrell, you can't have Eddie Murphy, you can't have Adam Sandler. Even if Bowen Yang was that funny or Mikey Day, like you have to do what Bill Hader did and get your own HBO show, like at the very best.
Yeah, times have changed a little bit.
A lot of
maybe this that's actually a great point that you made going back to, when it was in its prime, there was no TikTok, there was no YouTube. That's where you went for those. I mean, I do sketches and skits on TikTok all the time.
Exactly.
yeah, you just watch it there now. You don't watch it in Saturday Night Live, and it opens up the audience to everybody in the country, not just 10 or 12 people. Um, Maybe this brings it back. Maybe it sparks a little bit. I think people, everything kind of goes in cycles. Maybe they come back, and I miss it. I love it because I know how much of a you can be funny like socially, hanging out with your boys. You can be funny stand up, and then you can be funny in movies, and then you could also be funny on a live skit like that. It's all different funnies, and it takes a certain skill, a certain balls, a certain audacity to go up there and be funny. And if you can do it, it's a work of art. And yeah, maybe the movie brings it if it's getting good review. I'm actually very excited to watch this now. Maybe that's also an awesome concept of like them running the whole thing. Um, yeah, bring it back a little bit. I'd be all in favor to bring it back and get them going. Because yeah, there's nothing better than those like goated Saturday Night Live skits. Just fucking Chappelle. Like yeah, dude, it's insane. Maybe this
Well, it's
sparks
just
it.
like an
I don't know.
interesting time because it's like you're right. Like I'm not blaming TikTok or anything like that. Like I think it's nice that we have, things that are made for us and they are curated for us and delivered to us in
Literally,
such an efficient way. Like it's perfect. But at the same time, like I've just been thinking about it a lot. Like there are no just cultural touch points for us anymore. Like Game of Thrones
and
feels like the last real show where it's like, all right, everybody's watching it at the same time on the same night, and then we're all going to talk about it for the next week.
that's
Like
true.
now we just don't get that anymore, and it just kind of freaks me out a little bit because I'm like, even the shows that I try to support, like industry and stuff like that, like like a couple of my friends watch it, like Hotto, a couple of guys like that, but like not everybody is watching it, and I have
Yeah,
to go to Reddit or something like that to like be a part of a community that is talking about it. Versus, I remember my family would go to my uncle Buddy's house to watch The Sopranos every Sunday. And I would have like
that's
25 fucking
fucking
family members there, and they would bring all their kids, and we would run around and be little shits, and they would just watch The Sopranos together.
that's so
And
awesome. That warms
me and
my
my
heart.
boys, we would all get together, get chopped, watch Game of Thrones. That was
I
our
was gonna
thing.
say I remember watching Game of Thrones with Robbie
Yeah.
after on a Sunday after knocking all week. And I don't know if you were, I think you were there the next year. But yeah, that was like I remember sitting there refreshing for 9 p.m. to hit for the
Yep.
new one to load, and you were just right into it. And I was gonna say this too, like even the SNL. Guess where I watch the SNL skits, man? I watch them on TikTok,
Yep.
which just doesn't help, the brands. Yeah, it's just kind of how it is, which I'm still getting it. I'm still digesting it, but it's just a different world. But yeah, that's right. Game of Thrones, that was kind of the last thing that yeah, the whole country kind of bought in and watched that was so much fun, man. Like week
That's
after
funny you
week.
mentioned though the fact that you're watching it on TikTok because I was having a conversation about this at work the other day at my real job, and we were talking about actually a VR headset, and we were like, it's one thing to deliver something on your phone and watch it on there. That's an activity, but when you go to a movie theater or when you put on a headset or when you're
It's a
together with your friends
journey.
watching, it's an experience. It's a
Experience,
totally
yeah, that's a
different
better
thing.
word.
I like Journey too. Like
100%.
it's the same concept. I just think it's
Yeah.
fascinating. So I just wanted to shed some light. I kind of gave up on movies there for like 24 hours after seeing Joker and Megalopolis, which I do not want to talk about. You can go watch my reviews if you want my thoughts on those. But yeah, I'm ready for Saturday night. All right, let's go back to football for a second. Okay, I like this one. The Bills are on fraud watch. Started out hot, 3-0, and now they have lost 2 weeks in a row to premier teams in the Ravens and Texans, both on the road. I feel like you're up and down on the Bills. I have like really high thoughts on Josh Allen. I think he's absolutely elite. I think he's the second best quarterback in the league, all that kind of good stuff. But somebody in the chat said, I think it might have been Clark, that the Bills are on fraud watch. What are your thoughts? Facts or cap?
That's a tough one. Um, I will say,
Should we
um,
define what a fraud is? Because I think the
the
idea of a
I think a
fraud
fraud
is
is
somebody that beats bad teams, loses to good teams, like the Dolphins the last couple of years.
yeah, or just aren't as good as their record
Sure.
shows, which is I guess the same thing. I would I wouldn't. I wouldn't say fraud. Well, I actually have a lot of faith in Josh Allen too. I like that team. I think the scariest thing for the Bills is, are you really gonna come January win a game eh, at the bank against the Ravens? Are you really gonna win a game at in Houston? Are you really gonna win a playoff game in Kansas
Arrowhead.
City?
Yep.
And Arrowhead, and I don't think they are. Does that mean they're a fraud? No, I think they had a rough couple games. I'll say this: the thing that points towards fraud the most is the Ravens' defense is not good,
Mm.
and for them to put up only 10. Oh wait, no, it's on the. Give me a thumbs down, Siri. For them to only put up 10 against the Ravens defense, that's scary. That
Mm.
should be worrisome if you're a Bills fan. I mean, to go to Houston and lose to the Texans by what was it, 3 points, field goal?
Yep.
Not the worst thing. To get blown out by the Ravens on a Monday Night Prime, that's pretty bad. But again, look at their division. They'll, do you see anybody? Miami, I know they got to win,
Miami and
but
New England just had a mid-off this weekend. The Jets
just
look
a
like
pillow
dog
fight.
shit in London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think just yet. Now, who do the Bills play next week? Do you know off the top of your head? Maybe
They play the Jets.
I'll tell you what. They throw up a stinker against the Jets and lose against them. Chaos in Buffalo, but
So they very well
go
could
there, get
go
business done.
4-1, 5-0 their next 5 games. They have the Jets, the Titans, the Seahawks, the Dolphins, and the Colts. All right. But then the next 2 weeks after that, they will have the Chiefs and the Niners. And then they still have the
lose
Rams,
both of those.
the Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They won't touch the Chiefs or the Niners or the Lions.
I mean, shit. I mean, we could have a conversation about the Niners being on fraud watch right now. I mean, they fell to 2-3 this weekend.
I think that is. I would say right now the Niners are more fraud than the Bills. I think the Bills just still got to figure. I mean, fuck, man, you lost a lot of pieces. Defense wasn't the best last year. Not the best this year. Josh Allen can only do so much. Get James Cook going, for fuck's sake. But yeah, they look good and they look bad. I think they drop under the Jets, then it's chaos in Buffalo. I'll say that. But give them one more week. Two hard games, Ravens, Texans. If you drop under the Jets, that's serious problems.
Josh Allen was 9 for 30 in the game against Houston for 131 yards.
That's
shocking.
That's got to be the lowest he's ever.
I mean, since his rookie year, right? Like his rookie year, he was all over the place. He was essentially white Anthony Richardson. But that's awful. Like, what is that? That's a 32% completion percentage. That's not Josh Allen. That's not the Josh Allen I have. You know what? I'm looking at him to bounce back against the Jets because he's the kind of guy that, just like you were saying with Lamar earlier, he's got a fire under his ass. He's not going to let that shit happen.
No, he's pissed. For sure.
All right.
You're not going to win a game when Josh Allen completes 9 passes. That's just not going to cut it.
Taco Bell's pricing is quote unquote all caps outrageous. Facts or cap?
Bro, SNL, Josh Allen to fucking Crunchwrap Supreme. Give me whose fat ass said this?
We talked about Taco Bell in the chat yesterday that's the thing with this goddamn chat. You know, it always comes back to food somehow. It's PD, it's Bordy, Clark gets in there, Martian and Barter get in there.
I start a lot of them. You know what? I'll say fact. Because when you have big hitters, like I got a texting and driving ticket like a week ago because I was sending out a text to the pop-off group chat saying, yo, the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's slaps, because it does. I got like
3 days
2
later,
burgers.
You got pulled over again for watching my Megalopolis review.
Yep, watching the Megalopolis. I look up sirens, and you know what? This time it's not in a parking lot doing a podcast. It's on fucking a highway. When you have, dude, fast food has some audacity lately. charging the prices that they do. I used to go to McDonald's and get a lot of food for $7. Now I go to McDonald's, I get a number of I like the double cheeseburger meal. I might order one tonight because I got no groceries yet in my new house. Um, I don't want to order a numbered item on McDonald's and pay $15, $16. Okay? $5 meal deal. The Subway footlong, gone. The fucking everything is through the roof. I don't visit Taco Bell too much except on maybe Saturdays at 4 a.m. And I'm usually hammered not looking at prices, but from what I'm getting with the fast food, I bet it is overpriced. And fuck them for doing that because the quality's shit. So give us a shit price.
I
Yeah,
think PD
assholes.
walked out of there with it was like a grilled cheese burrito, some other burrito, and Cinnabons, and it
Oh,
was $18.
yeah, he got Cinnabons. Yeah, his
Like,
fat
oh
ass
yeah,
did.
you got a
And
couple
you
of
know
Cinnabons.
what? Petey probably ate the Cinnabons first
Yep,
before
yep.
the grilled cheese, you little
Just on the
fat
drive
retard.
home, just nibbling on
Yeah.
them. Fucking
Oh,
ridiculous.
what's better than a fast food reach around grabbing the fries
Oh
on
my
the way
god.
home? Oh, nothing
Yeah.
better.
No, I
But
spanked
yeah,
McDanks last week, and I was just dipping into the bag while I was driving. I was
oh,
like, I hope I don't
dude.
get pulled over.
Sir,
Yeah,
were you texting? Nah, just eating,
yeah, okay,
just
you got
being
pulled
fat.
over for being a fat fuck.
Yeah.
All right, back to football. TJ Watt is the best edge rusher that our generation's eyes have ever seen. Baxter Cap. So I think we have to address, Von Miller, DeMarcus
Yep.
Ware, guys in that ilk. But TJ Watt, I think he was the fastest to 100 career sacks this weekend. Got there against the Cowboys. I mean, he just wreaks havoc on a game. I'm not sure if he's better
Yeah,
than JJ because JJ won, what was it, 2 or 3 Defensive Players of the Year in a row.
I think
But we
he's
also
better
have to put
than
JJ in that
JJ.
conversation too.
I have never. I mean, man, I've hated a lot of people in my life, starting with my father. No, I'm kidding. I being a Ravens fan, I'll always respect greatness. I think TJ is. I mean, dude, every game I watch, they win games because of him every single week. Forced fumbles, sacks, every third down, he just somehow gets it done. Yeah, dude, I would do some disgusting things to see him in a purple uniform. I know he never will, obviously, but I give him his flowers right now. But and I know I said this in the group chat. Me witnessing Von Miller single-handedly win that Super Bowl for Peyton Manning and the Broncos, that's what puts him above JJ for me because
The
I've never
biggest
seen anything
stage.
like it.
Yep.
I'm watching that Super Bowl and Peyton can't complete a pass, but Von Miller he's intercepting stuff, he's sacking forced fumbles, he's returning fumbles for dude, I don't know if he won. Did he win MVP that Super Bowl?
I think so.
I think that was the first and I think Ray Lewis got it in 2000, or maybe I don't even know. I have never seen a defensive player on the stage, the biggest stage of all, the Super Bowl, single-handedly do what he did that Super Bowl for Peyton Manning, and then Peyton just rides off in the sunset with the ring as he should, the sheriff. But I think TJ is more skilled and perhaps maybe a slight edge right now in his prime. But to see Von Miller do what he did in the Super Bowl, that puts him at the best edge rusher I've ever seen in our lifetime for me. Because unbelievable.
So TJ versus JJ, just straight up.
Well, he's
JJ
played,
Watt
or yeah,
has
as you
played
were.
42 more games, and he has 13 and a half more sacks. So 151
No,
games, 114 and a half sacks.
TJ
TJ
might
Watt,
cross that in
109
two
games.
games
Yeah,
by
101
week
sacks.
9.
The thing with JJ, though, is that at his peak, Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, finished second in MVP voting in 2014, 5-time All-Pro. TJ,
Has TJ not
4-time
got a
All-Pro,
defense?
1
Is he not?
Defensive Player of the Year so far. So he's still 2 Defensive Players of the Year away, 13 and a
Was
half
it
sacks away.
was it Micah last year or Myles Garrett?
Myles Garrett last year, yes. So he got He's been
I feel like
second
TJ
twice and third once in Defensive Player of the Year voting, and that's been the last 4 years.
Yeah, I think that might just be a tough luck of the draw for TJ because I mean, there were some dogs when JJ was playing too. But
Second in MVP voting is crazy, and that's like
no,
we've
that's
talked about that on the
wild.
pod before. Like, let defensive
Yeah,
players compete for MVP. Like, put them out there. They don't just deserve Defensive Player of the Year because that was also the year where I think JJ was playing like special tight end for them, where they would put him in their goal line package and they would just throw him touchdowns. Like, how many
I'd
receiving
love to
touchdowns?
see that.
3 receiving touchdowns in 2014. So that same year, he
That's
had 3
awesome.
fucking touchdowns, 3 catches, 3 touchdowns, 3 targets. Right, 100% completion percentage when throwing at JJ
Must be
Watt.
nice, you know. Some guys just got it all.
Yeah,
Um,
the Watt brothers, man.
I actually kind of forgot how fucking psycho JJ was. He was pretty much just as psycho as TJ. They're kind of the same person.
And if we're looking
Also,
at like
congrats on
JJ
TJ
as
just had a
like
baby.
as like a frame of reference for TJ's career, he played 12 seasons and had a bunch of injuries. TJ has been actually quite a bit more healthy. Von Miller, his career, he has 126 and a half sacks. And yeah, I think TJ can catch most of these guys. It's going to be a while though until he catches Bruce Smith because he has 200 sacks. So that's the all-time record. So he'd have to have another, 7 to 8 years at this level, which is
Bruce Miller. What's
Bruce
his name?
Smith.
Was he on the Bears?
No, who did he play for? I think he might have been the Purple People Eaters.
Was that guy just running people over in 1930?
And then
Just
Reggie
skinny
White, I
white
think, is
boys?
at like 198 or something like that too. Buffalo
Damn.
Bills.
That makes sense. Yep. Shout out Bruce Smith.
4-time DPOY. All right, a couple more here before we get out of here. NBA preseason is heating up. There's not a lot that you can take away from the preseason. It's just nice to get, some reps under these guys' belts when they come out here and play.
Already here. I feel like the Celtics just fucking.
Yep. Well, you have the Olympics, you have summer league and that kind of stuff, so that always feels like it's
true.
And it's also one of the shorter off seasons. I mean, they really only take off July, August, September. Like, it's really only a 3-month off season. It's probably the longest season out of any of the sports. Let's do this one first, and then we'll end with the bang. Ja Morant in pigtails is the scariest dude in the league.
Oh,
yeah. He has pigtails in right now, like the Miley Cyrus space buns, like as dreadlocks going out the back, and he's fucking swatting shit. Ja is back in the booth. Yep, throwing lobs to Zach Edey. Grizzlies look like they're going to be really good this year. I can't wait to take their over on regular season wins. But yeah, Ja Morant is back to claim his mantle, actually, as the best American basketball player. Or maybe not the best, because I think Tatum probably has that argument, but the most popular above Anthony Edwards. Ja Morant is back for that. Facts or cap?
Facts. Yeah, he put the guns away and he brought out the piggy tails.
And it wasn't just the guns, it was the tequila that he was housing on the flight. Do you remember that video of him just deleting Casamigos on the flight? I'll have to post it. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, he's if there's one thing he doesn't give, it's a fuck for sure. But I'll tell you this, to go out and do piggy tails, like a hairstyle like that, you gotta back it with some play. And if there's one guy to back it with some play, it's that skinny dude just jumping, just with springs in his knees. And yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to watch NBA. It's kind of wild that it's back already, and yeah, just have him just fucking let's get Ja through a whole season without any missed games, without any injuries, without any issues off the court. Let's see what he can complete this season, just a full season. And fuck, man, I bet he's up there for MVP in the odds.
So he finished. He played 9 games last year. He averaged 25, 6, and 8 in those games. 47% from the field, 28% from 3. That's what I'm excited to see, is if he put the literal strap away and got a figurative strap. Because if this guy shoots like 37% from 3, it's a fucking wrap for point guards across the league. Because that means you have to take away some of his airspace, and then it's just blow by city.
Is he like the Lamar of the NBA as far as excitement?
That's what I was thinking about, because like we were talking about, like you have to have Lamar on a TV. I'm a league pass guy,
you're gonna watch Ja.
Like Grizzlies are playing, Ja's gonna be on the TV. Like Ja, Zion, Ant. KD's
It's
always going to be in
exciting.
that realm for me.
Yeah.
Like, I just got to have these guys on. So yeah, he'll definitely be on. All right, let's close with this one. We mentioned the preseason, and there's a lot of pictures going around about LeBron and Bronny. LeBron playing this regular season with Bronny James is LeBron James's greatest achievement, facts or cap. Now, let me go through my thinking here. People have won championships. People have won MVPs. Nobody has scored more points than him.
I'm already
naturally.
convinced.
But nobody's ever played with their son. And for the last 5 or 6 years, there have been a lot of pictures circulating around the internet. It's like, oh, LeBron played against Gary Trent Sr. and Gary Trent Jr., and he handed both of them their ass. And, like, there's some overlap there. I'm sure, like, Kobe did that. I'm sure Jordan did that. I'm sure a lot of guys, Kevin Garnett, Dirk, like, they probably did the same kind of stuff. Other guys have done that. Nobody's ever done this. Like, I think Ken Griffey in baseball, which is a much easier sport to, like, maintain your body and stuff like that. That's obviously super impressive, but nobody else has done this. Is this LeBron's greatest achievement?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say fact. I personally, there's a lot of weird hate. I think it's the coolest thing ever.
It is pretty fucking cool.
Bro.
looks
I actually
weird.
I got chills watching. Like, bro, I'm watching the highlights and like, I mean, and it's like chills and like a heartwarming. Like, bro, he's setting a pick for his son.
Yeah.
I almost like want to cry. It's like it's the coolest. Like, I'm trying to picture it with he must be, and honestly, good for LeBron. He's obviously always a happy, goofy guy, but he's gotten teared down left and right. He must be so happy. I don't think I think he's pretty checked out in the whole playing basketball. I mean, we'll see. Maybe fucking Jesus, knowing him, he'll average 25. But I think he's just going to be out there this year, just so happy. He now gets to play the game he loves with his own son that he obviously loves. Just watching him set picks for his son, dishing it to his son. He's teaching his son. He's coaching his son. He gets to be like, tell me he's not grinning ear to ear.
Yeah.
Every practice, all practice, just
and
like.
he's always been that guy too. Like, if every teammate's always like, he's just the happiest guy to be around. But to like that point, like, he's
a beautiful thing.
So like, there's always like these things about like psycho competitors and like killer like Mamba mentality and stuff like that. I'm sorry, you just don't get to year 22 and still average at least 22 points per game without being a ridiculous competitor. And it was 2 months ago that we were watching the Olympics and we were like, all right, you know, it's coming down the stretch here against Serbia, against France. Like, we need somebody to make a play here. And it was him, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant. Yeah. And like, credit to those two guys. I want to shout out them because we were celebrating the fuck out of LeBron when he got to year 16, year 17, year 18. Those guys are getting there right now too. So shout out to them. But like, he said it himself. He was like, I'm going to retire when I feel like I'm a bum, like when I don't belong in the league anymore. And nobody has ever entered year 22 and been like a consensus. I don't know if he's top 10, top 8, top 12, whatever he is, but it's just never happened before. Like, you see the stat of, you know, every guy in year 21, you add up all their points, rebounds, and assists, and it's like a third of what LeBron put up last year. And then the fact that he just gets to, you know, usher in his son, like, it's unbelievable.
So cool,
I'm so fucking excited for it.
Yeah, no, I'm very, because you know there's going to be a play like, you know, maybe it's 10 or 20 games in where some fast break and Bronny, you know, throws up a lob and it's his dad behind him. And it just, the whole country just cries and just beauty. I think it's the coolest thing. I watch like the interview where they're joking around about a foul that happened in practice.
Yep.
Like, and shout out his wife. It must be the coolest fucking thing for her too, to just turn on the TV and you see your husband and you're like, it's so cool to me. And I think Bronny, he almost has, he's still a little nervous. I think you could tell I think it might take him a year or so to kind of get his own dog, his own just willpower.
But that's every single rookie. Like, every rookie comes into the league, unless you're like a generational talent like Wemby. Yeah. And it's like, it's going to take some adapting. Like, you're entering literally the best basketball league in the world. Like, it's not Sierra Canyon. It's not USC. Like, you're playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, you're not playing for the fucking Cleveland Cavaliers. No offense to the Cavs.
And no one has ever done what Bronny's doing, which is being under your dad's shadow your whole life and then get drafted up to play with him. No one's ever been in his position. The poor kid.
That's a great point.
Yeah, he's got to be stressed and he's got to be, a little bit. But he does look like he's working. I watched the game tape. I know everybody's hating on him for no points, but he's getting chased down blocks. He's seeing the court clearly. He's getting some assists. He's like hustling. Like,
nobody expects him to be LeBron.
Play his heart out.
Yes, yeah. No, we don't need him to be that. Just be like Diet Patrick Beverly or something like that. All right, but let's not,
just throw your dad a lob.
Yeah, let's not cry too hard for him too, because he's still cashing NBA checks, right? Like, he's on the guaranteed roster, so like he'll be fine. But I'm excited to see what he can do in the G League. I think he'll play a lot there. And then the JJ Redick offense looks fun. But all right, this is a great
I forgot about JJ. That's fucking.
Yeah, it's gonna be a circus.
About that.
It's gonna be a circus.
It's gonna be a fun. Like, I will go. I usually don't. I mean, I've seen LeBron play a handful of times. I will 1,000,000% go to a Lakers game this year and see those two out there for sure. I don't think that will ever happen ever again. This will be a first and a last, unless because you got to have kids early if you want that to, and you have to be.
That's the other thing. It's like, I remember
that'll never happen again.
Like, we're old enough and he's old enough that I remember my mom being like, LeBron has a son. When I was in like 3rd grade, it was like 2007, something like that. And she's like, is he married? I'm like, I don't think he's married yet, but he's like dating his high school sweetheart. I knew all this shit as like a fucking 10-year-old because I was such a weirdo about LeBron. And she was like, oh, that's not Catholic of him to have a kid out of marriage. I'm like, Mom, what the fuck? It's LeBron James. Relax. And then that little kid, grew into like this young man. And it's so weird to see.
You got to think. So how old? Let's see if you still know this. How old was LeBron when he had Bronny? 20?
17, 18. Like, dude, at draft night he had him.
So this is a first and a last. Yeah. Cherish it. It might be just this year. I mean, who knows? Which I don't even want to think about that. Like, the day that Bron retires, I think, is just a cold day in hell.
Oh, that's it for me. That's it. Existential crisis is coming through because, like, I think I've said this before, but my entire life that I've had, a brain that actually like remembers things. He's been in it, like literally the entire time, like from kindergarten on. I went to Holy Trinity Elementary and Middle School, Dowling Catholic High School, the University of Iowa, worked for EcoShield, got hired at Applied Art and Technology, finished my basketball career, started coaching basketball, host a podcast that talks about basketball, and the entire time he's been all NBA first team.
The entire time he's just been averaging 30.
Yeah.
Just your whole life.
27 and 7. You can point to any point of my life, like when I got busted for, blowing bags, listening to Dirty Sprite 2 at the Johnson soccer fields. You could go back to me and Mrs. Evans' social studies class in 3rd grade. You could go to, me at a frat party. Every single time.
The first time you shit yourself.
The first time maybe not that one, because that one I would have been like 2 or 3, but he would have been.
The first time you jerked off.
100%.
LeBron was averaging 30.
Yep, 100%.
And now you're getting laid, man. Now you're getting laid and getting paid.
Look at us.
Look at us, man.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Shout out to Bron, the GOAT. Every NFL pod should turn into a Bron conversation at some point. We are LeBron.
Oh, yeah. One more thing. Why do the announcers say LeBron James Jr.? It's Bronny. Do they know he has his own? I don't know if you noticed that. They're like in LeBron James.
It says B James, and it's so weird. It's just Bronny James for like it says B James. It's like, dude, we know who you are. Just put L James. Just put L James Jr. or something like that.
Yeah, it's true. But his name's Bronny though.
But his real name is LeBron. Like, he's named after LeBron. Like, his real name isn't just Bronny on the birth certificate, but he chose to go by Bronny.
I thought I'm retarded. I thought
it's
it was
like the
Bronny.
Debo Samuel thing. Like, Debo's real name isn't Debo. It's like Dante.
Okay. Or like Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
Eldrick.
exactly.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you guys a little bit later this week previewing week 6 of the NFL, and Rent Money will be back as well. So make sure to tap in. I'll see you on the other side. Peace out. I'm loving the pop off.